Hi, fifth graders. Today's lesson is lesson 7-4, subtract fractions with unlike denominators. The I can statement is I can subtract fractions with unlike denominators. Pause the video now to write the lesson number, title, and I can statement on a new page in your math notebook. When you have finished with that, press play to continue. Today's solve and share problem is Rose bought a length of copper pipe. She used half a yard to repair the shower. How much pipe does she have left? Solve this problem any way you choose. Anytime I have a word problem, we know we want to use cubes to solve correctly. The first thing I want to do is circle the numbers. I have half a yard. Remember, those labels are very important when knowing what we're working with. And then, although there's no other number in my problem, by looking at the picture, I know that I'm also working with 4/6 yard is what she had. Next, I want to underline the question. How much pipe does she have left? Next, I want to box the keywords. Now, when I look at this problem, I think how she bought the pipe at 4/6 yards. She uses half a yard for her project. So the question asks, how many does she have left? I think that's very important because that helps me know what I'm going to solve and my next step of evaluating and visualizing. When I think of have left, that makes me think that I need to subtract. In this picture, this is the pipe she bought. It was 4/6 yard. She uses a half yard for her project. Don't let that confuse you with using half of the pipe. She uses half a yard. That is why it is so important to make sure we know and understand our problem, because that would make a difference in our answer. So to set up my problem, I start with she is using 4/6 pipe to start with. And then she uses half yard for her project. So we want to figure out how much is left, and we are going to subtract. This is going to be done a lot similarly to what we did yesterday, but today we're subtracting instead of adding. The first thing I want to do is make my denominator the same. So I need to think about what numbers I know that 2 and 6 are multiples of and can multiply into evenly. I know that 2 is a multiple of 6. I know 6 is a multiple of 6. So now I have come up with my 2 common denominators. To figure out the equivalent fraction of 6 of what 1/2 is, I need to think 2 times what equals 6? Well, 2 times 3 equals 6. If I do it to the bottom number, I have to do it to the numerator as well. So I take 1 times 3 equals 3. So that tells me that 1/2 is equal to the fraction 3/6. Next, I do the same here. I know that 6 times 1 equals 6. And because I do it in my denominator, I have to do it in my numerator. 4 times 1 is 4. Now I can subtract. 4, I take my numerator minus my other numerator. 4 minus 3 is 1. And then remember, I'm not subtracting my denominators. I leave those the same. So my denominator is 6. So she has 1/6 of pipe left, or 1/6 yard. Let's look to see how other students solve. Nikki did a strategy a lot similar to mine. She set her problem up vertically to solve for the common multiple of each number. She didn't show how she got the 2 to the 6, but she knew that 2 times 3 equaled 6, and then she took 1 times 3 because you have to do the same at the top to get 3/6, knowing that 1/2 is an equivalent fraction to 3/6. Then she took the numerator 4 minus the numerator 3 to get 1, and then left both denominators the same to get 1/6 yard. Tony did his in a pictorial way. He first showed the fraction 4/6. He has 1/6 4 times. Next, he wanted to make an equivalent fraction of 1/2, knowing that 1/2 equals 3/6. And now he can compare as to what is left over, showing that 1/6 was left over of his pipe, 1/6 yard. Next, I want you to think about how you solved the problem. Think about if you were right. Think about if you were wrong. Either way, it doesn't matter. Summarize your thinking. Think about what parts were hard, what parts were easy. Are there parts that you're still confused on that you want to ask in class? Take notes to think about what that may be. We will see you in class tomorrow to discuss. Have a good night.